afternoon, and welcome to BBC Two.
And welcome to Back to the 80s, the podcast that travels back through time in a rose-tinted DeLorean. But of course, it isn't the 80s we're talking about. It's the 90s, because we're into October. And we've already done a couple of episodes of this now. So, back to the 90s. And this week, we're talking about something that's very dear to my and my guest's heart, because we'll be talking all about 90s football. But more on that in a second. The guest this week, he's been on a few times before, and I've been on his podcast a few times as well. From the Smorgasboard, it is Mr. Pete Gaskell.
Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. A bit tired, but, time travel will take it out of you, won't it?
It will, and it's Monday as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe for you.
Well, yeah, it's Monday.
Mm.
It is Monday. For everybody, it is Monday when they listen to this. Well,
regardless of when you listen to us. Yeah.
Exactly, regardless. But other than that, you doing all right?
Yeah.
Anything interesting happening in your life?
New job, wedding planning, quite a lot of stuff actually. So drama everywhere I look. So it's good to be able to, squirrel myself away for an hour and escape to talk nostalgia with you, sir.
Oh, good stuff. There we go. Been buying anything nerdy or geeky or interesting that we need to talk about?
Well, recently I got given a PlayStation 3, which was fun, but mainly because I wanted to buy PlayStation 1 games with it. Because, much like yourself, I like to dig deep into my childhood. So I've been scouring around, finding as many PS1 games as I could find. And there's one which, funnily enough, ties a little bit into what we'll be talking about. It's a game called Viva Football. I don't know if you've ever played it, Glenn.
Don't think I have, no.
It's for a sort of football nerd, like myself and your good self. It's brilliant because it was sort of a game from sort of either of you actual Soccer 2 sort of time, late 90s. Yeah. Which is my first football game properly. But this one, it's just international teams, but it goes every World Cup from 1958 to 1998. Including qualifiers, and they have all the squads and everything perfectly detailed. So, and you can play, chronologically, which is what I am doing. Started with England in 1955. Great times. A bit weird having a team which had D. Edwards and T. Taylor, etc. in the team. Or you can sort of mix and match. You can play Brazil 70 against France 98 or something like that, and that's great fun. So yeah, I've been digging into that whenever I've had a spare minute.
That sounds interesting, because there were some good football games for the PS1.
Oh, don't get me wrong. In terms of actual gameplay, it's shocking. It's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
First thing I did was get sent off. But for sort of the nerdiness of being able to look at Luxembourg's squad from its 1974 World Cup qualifiers and stuff like that. And yeah.
San Marino, 1992.
Exactly.
93, should I say.
Exactly. It's brilliant being able just to fiddle around with that and seeing, and we've actually got the squads as they were. It's ridiculous, but great. And I wish more games would do that. So just give up on gameplay and just focus on appealing to a nerdy outlet instead.
I don't see why they can't do both. I mean, FIFA do something like that occasionally, don't they?
Yeah, but I remember World Cup '98 game that came out had sort of a history of the World Cup, didn't it? You could play out key movements and stuff, couldn't you? Like
you could always do things like that with sensible soccer as well, I guess.
Yeah.
You could always make your own teams up on there, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Which I always like to do. And then you had, was it Pro Evolution, the original one?
Yeah.
Well, that was quite a good game for the PS1. So, but they're bringing out the PS Mini, aren't they? So,
yeah. So again, plenty of opportunities for good old-fashioned PS1 games to come out again. Like I said, yeah. Anything from about 1996 to 1999, I'm sort of scouring at the minute, just trying to hoover them up.
Well, yeah, but Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and all those.
Exactly.
Nice one. Excellent stuff. As for me, not been up to much. It's working. It's my birthday next week, so I'm in that weird twilight zone of not being able to buy anything.
Yeah, because you buy exactly what's already been bought for you.
I do tell a lie, because I did. Last time we moved house, I had Warhammer 40k Dawn of War, the original. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of it. I had the complete collection of it. And I lost it, so I bought it again for myself on my birthday. So, because I do like playing those games. They are really simple, but they're really fun. I'm not a big gamer, you see, so anything that's sort of simple, fun, and I can grasp, I'm quite a big fan of. And I found a bundle of a Dark Angels 40k mug and a nice journal as well. I do like a nice journal. Nice book to put things in.
Oh, yes.
So I bought those for my birthday for myself because I'm reasonably excited. I am reasonably excited, but I'm reasonably certain that I'm not going to get given those. Oh, the other thing I bought as well, they started bringing out the Fighting Fantasy books again.
Oh, really? As in remakes of the originals or new?
As in remakes. There are a few new ones coming out. Charlie Higson has actually written a new one.
Oh, Charlie Higson. That's
Charlie Higson of all
Fast
people.
Show fame and whatever else, yeah.
Yeah, well, James Bond Jr. So he's a big fan of Fighting Fantasy. So he's written one, and apparently he's going to write another few, I think. So there are new ones coming out, but I bought the Warlock of Firetop Mountain and the Island of the Lizard King.
Ah, cool.
So and I have been playing, and I've been playing properly as well.
Not cheating.
Dice and everything. Nope, been playing with dice and been filling out I bought a book so I can put the monster sheets in there. I can recreate them and do it all properly and
go full RPG with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was not like it was at school where you just sort of...
kept flicking through every single time just to get the one that sounded like it was going to do best.
Exactly. Which everybody did, let's face it. But no, I'm going to try and play them properly now and say...
And die. 1,000 times.
Oh, yeah. That's half the fun, though, isn't it? It's going back to and seeing which choices you didn't make and sort of... go along the path left travelled and that kind of thing. So they're very fun. But if you go to places like WH Smith and Waterstones, they're there.
Excellent.
And they've got really nice new covers and everything as well, and nice gold spines, so they all look nice on a shelf.
I'm guessing reasonably priced too, because presumably some of the older ones would be really beasts to get hold of now. Yeah,
well, if you go on eBay, some of them are like sort of 40 quid.
Exactly.
Depending on rarity. These are roughly priced about 7 quid. So I think that's reasonable.
Close to what they would have been in the time, judging for inflation and stuff. So
yeah, they're about $2.99, I think. When they were the old Puffin books. It isn't Puffin anymore, it's Scholastic.
Now. So they give it a bit of sheen, don't make a Scholastic good.
Yeah, but I like Puffin books. But they don't do Puffin books anymore, do they? So it's
that'd be kind of a problem.
Yeah, well, that's how you know you're an old guy, because they do Puffin books.
Oh, I remember Puffin books.
Well, they used to have a Puffin book club in my school where you used to be able to order books. It's like the Avon lady. You had the Puffin lady come round. Yep. And I remember getting like loads of Roald Dahl books, like Fantastic Mr. Fox and the BFG and all that from the Puffin book club. Yeah. So, because they all reasonably priced them, didn't they? Because it was school, so you could get them cheaper.
Yeah. It was good.
Encourage Kiddywinks to read.
Oh, yes.
And now they're all on the tabs, you see, so you couldn't do it anymore. Oh, we're old. We're getting old.
We are.
We're getting old. Let's do a break. I think we'll have a break and then we'll come back and talk about some 90s football. So the break this week is from a non-more 90s television company than Meridian, which was what was used to be the old TVS area, sort of the southeast, Kent and all around there. And it's one of the most 90s companies in the world is Meridian. But it's from the 14th of October, 1997. Didn't even look for this. So this is how good this was. They ever got a trailer in October for France 98.
Yes.
I was quite chuffed about it. I thought, hey, that's good. I've only just picked it out of the hat. I didn't even go for it. It's given me a France 98
Perfect
trailer.
time.
Oh, absolutely. And then it's also saying, it was in half an hour Planet Mirth. Jesus, Planet Mirth. That was a programme with Milton Jones, Emma Kennedy and Ben Moore.
Wow.
When they were first starting out on telly. Mm-hmm. And it was really, really terrible Cambridge Footlightsy sort of sketches about sci-fi. And it was just so bad. Because it is. They're just starting out on telly and stuff. Yeah. So it's like, but there you go. Little did I know that Emma Kennedy knows my girlfriend.
Ah.
Which is very, very true.
Does your girlfriend also know Emma Kennedy?
Yes.
Ah, good.
Which is handy, isn't it? But anyway, so yeah, it's just before a programme, like a League Cup programme or something like that. And yeah, France 98 trailer, excellent stuff.
A little bit strange of advertising. Sorry, Glenn. A little bit strange of advertising it, 8 months before it started?
Well, they used to do that. They used to get really excited for things, but it's not like now. Where I remember when you used to get sort of McDonald's adverts and that sort of advertising the World Cup about 5 months before it's due to begin. That never happened this time. We didn't get many adverts about the World Cup at all. I don't know why.
Very strange. Very strange, yeah. Very under the radar.
I do know that one of the official sponsors this year for the Premier League is Cadbury's.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they've got the advent calendars, the Premier League advent calendars.
Oh.
I saw them this Saturday in the Cadbury shop. And I'm like, that's a weird sponsor. It's like, that's chocolate and Premier League. Well, I guess so. It used to be McDonald's, didn't it? And Coca-Cola and but there you go. Anyway, weird. So the first advert in there is one for Barclays, small businesses. I'm like, yeah, give it 20 years, lads, and we won't be advertising that anymore. Not because none of us have got any money, thanks to the banks, and also Brexit. So just that. Next one is Volvo. And to be fair, you could put this Volvo advert on telly now and not really tell the difference. It's basically selling reliability. I'm saying Volvos are reliable, which is exactly what they do. They've got an advert now. The only difference is that now it's a bit more diverse. It's got like a gay couple in it and a lesbian couple and mixed race and that kind of thing. Other than that, it's pretty much the same advert.
It's still saying we're reliable.
Yeah. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, it won't be broken because they're reliable.
Exactly, because they're Volvos. Next one's for the army. And again, it feels like a recent ad. Because it's the one where they're driving through the forest and saying, go right, go right, go right.
They never change army adverts.
Well, they have in recent times because now they're all about belonging and being together and feelings and shit like that. I'm thinking, is that the sort of person you really want in the army? Sensitive people?
That's been more quandary.
You don't really want sensitive people in the army, do you? You know, ones who are going to cry and are in touch with the feelings and stuff. You kind of want people who are sort of good at killing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of what they do.
Kind of an MO.
Well, yeah, it's kind of what the army's there for, isn't it? Fighting. It's not there to sit in a drumming circle, but, I don't know. Next one after that is, I put here, forgotten. It's for a film called The Peacemaker with George Clooney and Nicole Kidman.
That's a belting little film, that.
Never seen it, never want to.
It's a belting little film, actually. I remember thinking it was a sort of sub-Bond style film, and it was a sub-Bond style film, but it has Clooney in it, so it's worth a watch.
It was Clooney when he was trying to get famous, before he found his mojo, really.
Yeah, it was Clooney, right, it was before Ocean's 11, wasn't it? Which is where I think he sort of really found it, wasn't it?
Before Coen Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Ocean's 11, all that sort of stuff where he sort of really started to take off. I mean,
he'd done
ER.
From Dusk Till Dawn. He'd done ER. He'd done From Dusk Till Dawn, which was his big movie.
Batman and Robin, of course.
Batman and Robin, yeah, this is around the same time.
Why he needed a career renaissance.
Exactly. And he did things like that romantic comedy one he did with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, yeah.
Awful. And that
I sort of think that Matthew McConaughey would star in for like 15 years until he found Christopher Nolan.
Exactly. But yeah, so he made a few films like this, The Peacemaker and Three Kings, was that the one with Marky Mark?
Yeah.
And Ice Cube, I want to say.
I think it was Ice Cube, actually, yeah. Was it Ice Cube or Ice T?
I think it was Cube. I think Ice-T was in Law and Order by this point, wasn't he?
Yeah, maybe.
That was weird, the first time you see that. Are you the guy who did Cop Killer?
Interesting career change.
Tracy. He's actually quite a good actor. He's actually really good in Law and Order, is Ice-T. I really like him. But him and the guy who played Big, Chris Noth, he was good. And Vincent D'Onofrio, wasn't he in it?
Yeah, he was in yeah.
With the girl whose dad was a wrestler. I forget what her name is.
Mariska Hargitay, I think it was.
Yeah, but her dad was a wrestler, wasn't he? Pro wrestler.
Was she? Was he?
Very, very famous one, yeah.
Oh.
I forget what his name was now. But anyway, Peacemaker, forgotten film, not very good. But
good film. I refute your suggestions there. And
Pete
I actually have seen it, so there you go.
Just 90s stuff.
90s action, okay.
Yeah. Not as good as The Rock. The Rock was better.
Oh,
but
yeah,
anyway,
The Rock was legendary.
It's a great film. Gets so many good speed. Second time I've mentioned that in back to the 90s, because I mentioned it with Duncan a few episodes back. Anyway, the last advert in this is for the Express, which apparently is only 20p. It's overpriced. We'll be back in a few minutes to talk about some 90s football. Until then, see you in a bit.
Disney's DuckTales will return after these messages.
Only 242 days to go. The World Cup, the essential guide to France '98. Liberty, equality, fraternity, football as it should be. One world, one goal, one channel, bringing the World Cup home for England.
With comedy on Planet Mirth in an hour's time, after the Meridian match.
As a major bank, Barclays are involved with the industries and companies that are vital to the British economy. So if you're starting a small business, come to a bank that won't treat you like one. Barclays, open for business of any size.
As a doctor, you need to know when to use patience and when to use speed. The V70 is all about composure. This environment is always testing your abilities. This car saves lives, and it helps me save lives.
Slow down. Little less gas. Watch your back.
Enemy roadblock ahead.
Get off the road! Go right! Kill the lights! Get through the trees. Go left. Dead ahead. Dead ahead. Dead ahead. Right.
She calls the shots.
Where the hell is my military liaison?
He breaks the rules.
I'm taking the money, Hans. My enthusiasm sometimes gets the best of me.
But now,
The guy got away with a bomb.
the countdown has begun.
You all right?
No, I'm not all right.
George Clooney, Nicole Kidman,
Your big plan?
This is my plan.
Take the shot!
Take the shot!
The Peacemaker.
This week, from Monday to Friday, the Express is only 20 pence.
And now, back to Disney's DuckTales.
And we are back. Hope you enjoyed the ads as much as we did there. So, Pete.
Yes.
The 90s.
Oh, yes.
Football.
football in its purest form in the 90s. Well,
it got there. But... It got there. Well, he got there eventually.
It did.
Got there eventually.
It did.
A lot of people have always asked me, well, not a lot of people, a few people have asked me, Ben, why don't you cover football in back to the 80s? And it's like, well, because it was a pretty depressing time. Football was
British football, yeah.
Oh, yeah, British football was world football was fine. I mean, you got to,
a couple of good World Cups in there.
A couple of good World Cups. The Spanish leagues were doing very, very well. Argentina and Germany, the Bundesliga was doing quite well. But British football, absolutely awful, mainly because of outside influences, really. Things like hooliganism and the fact that they caged fans in. So the atmosphere was a bit crap at English football. There weren't many foreign imports.
No. I think...
You had the... Oh, go on.
Sorry, I think English football in the 80s is in a similar position to where, say, Scottish football is now, in terms of it being in its own little bubble. And the quality suffering as a result because, Scottish teams don't make a dent in Europe these days, really.
No, less than they did. Less than they did in the 90s.
Exactly. And English teams obviously couldn't do in the 80s. So I think that actually affected, particularly the British game.
Which is a shame because it started off so well because obviously you had Forest winning the European Cup a couple of times.
Liverpool following on from him, of course, and
English teams doing really, really well in the sort of the early to mid 80s. But the after that you had Heysel and then Hillsborough in quick succession, and there were just things that changed British football for the worse in a way. But Hillsborough kind of affected it eventually in sort of a positive way because it meant that the fences came down. It meant that it was do or die basically for football. And I think had one of the most important things in 90s football happen, which was Italia 90, because that was so popular, because it sort of opened up football from being a purely working class thing to being something that everybody could enjoy. And I think sort of early on in the 90s especially, is that I remember football wasn't something you said that you liked because you were thought of as a bit of a thug. And then Italia 90 happened, and then it was okay to like football again.
I think there's some parallels with sort of a World Cup this year with what it was like in 90, isn't there? I'm sure I think we've discussed this before to an extent, but obviously now we know how well we did in 2018 and how very eerily similar to 1990 that was. But
absolutely.
Seeing the nation together again in 2018, I think there's only one other time I've seen it, and we'll be discussing that presumably soon. But Italia 90 helped, and obviously that paved the way towards what really did change football.
I mean, do you remember Italia 90? Were you old enough to remember?
Not really, no. No, because I'd have been 3 around that time. Oh, actually about 2 when the World Cup was going on. I think my memories sort of begin about 93, something like that, really.
So it's Premier League era.
Yeah, although I do have a sort of odd flashing image of Mark Hughes' overhead kick. Winning the old Cup Winners' Cup for United, which would be, about 92? That would be 92?
Yeah, that would be 92.
Yeah, so that's probably my earliest memory is 92.
Because I was 14 in Italia 90 when that was going on. So I do remember it, and I remember it was a very hot summer, and there was something, they've said this on other podcasts, Josh Widdicombe's Quickly Kevin podcast, they always say about Italia 90, there's a certain look to it. It looks cinematic, the actual footage of it. And it's like, it does, absolutely. There was a sheen to the...
Nessendormer.
There was Nessendormer, there was a sheen to the football kits. They were all quite shiny, so they looked good. It was tended to be night games, and night games are always better anyway, I think. I enjoy it. I love a night game.
Particularly at the World Cup. I think the day games sort of come across like sort of the sort of pale stepsister, don't they? To the actual main games, which always should take place at night.
Yeah, I completely. It's more of an event, I think, at night, always, because more people are watching it and it's in. And this was my last. Was it my last pre-pub? No, it would have been my. Yeah, I suppose it was my last pre-pub tournament that England were in, because the next one would have been Euro 96, and I was drinking back then. I was in pubs. So 96, I remember a lot of pubbage, and it was a glorious summer. But we'll go into that in a bit. But Yeah, so it was my last one at school, so I was just getting into football at that point. I wasn't into football much in the 80s. I vaguely remember some of it, but then it was, yeah.
They say.
He was special, was with Italia 90. It was a very, very special tournament. And it's probably still my favourite football tournament of all time.
Really?
And it did change everything, because, like I say, it wasn't cool to like football before. But it was cool to like football afterwards. And that's when things like the cult of Gaza emerged, you know, and Gary Lineker and everybody. He was a national hero. And they did. I mean, I remember when they went across there, nobody gave a fuck about the England team. When they came back, they were massive celebrities.
Funny.
Even though, well, no, I mean, exactly as it is now. It's the parallels are scary.
Let's just hope that they pick up and don't do what the England team did immediately after Italia 90.
Well, yes, Euro 92. Do you remember Euro 92?
I remember bits and bobs of it. I remember the game when, obviously, Lineker got taken off and it all going to shit, basically.
For Alan Smith.
For Alan Smith. Not even for
fucking
Alan Shearer.
Smudge. No, Shearer's on the bench as well. A fucking smudge, of all people.
It was a very, very rubbish side as well. I mean, there's so many players there who wouldn't have got a look in 2 years prior.
Yeah, I think... I always feel a bit sorry for Graham Taylor, because no doubt at all, Graham Taylor was a decent human being.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He didn't deserve the treatment he got.
Absolutely not. The Sun, as usual, reprehensible in the way they treated him. Awful. But he inherited a side that were ageing, and a lot of them retired. And the England team that was coming up at that point... It was transitional. It wasn't the team that Venables would get, because a lot of those players weren't playing. So your Darren Andertons and McManaman and Southgate and the Neville brothers, they just weren't playing.
And of course, Gascoigne was injured for a vast majority of it, and he was one player who would have been at his peak, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, it was his own fault. He was injured as well, because it was the 91 Cup final against Forest, which he shouldn't have been playing, because he should have been sent off. Even as a Spurs fan, he should have been sent off for at least 2 tackles that he did. But never mind. So he wasn't playing. He didn't have him. But he didn't play like Ian Wright, which he should have played Ian Wright more. I never understood that, because Ian Wright, this is me speaking as a Spurs fan, he was unstoppable at Arsenal. He is still... I don't care what anybody says, Henry and Bergkamp. I still rate Ian Wright as the best Arsenal player ever.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I would always reach for Bergkamp, because he was just class. But
very close second. But I think Wrighty was just...
He was just a finisher, wasn't he?
He was a finisher. He was a goal-hanging bastard. He was there, Lineker,
the thing is, in the 90s, we were sort of flush with that, because that's exactly what Shearer was.
Oh, Shearer was a goal-hanging twat.
Yeah, but I, to be fair...
I won't fuck with him, though.
To be honest, I'm a huge fan of Shearer. I mean,
I love him. I like a good old-fashioned centre forward.
So do I. I mean, and you must be over the moon with Kane, then, because he's the closest we've had since Shearer, really.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He's just a good old-fashioned, big lumbering, don't mess with me centre forward.
Well, give a ball to him. So that again. Give a ball to him 5 yards out. It goes in back of the net without question.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Kane is he's not as... He's nicer than Shearer, because Shearer would flatten you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the elbows would come out, wouldn't they?
Oh, he's a nasty player with Shearer. He really was a nasty player. And I loved it. Oh, it was great. Just don't get in his way. That's how you solve that.
That's why he scored as many goals as he did.
Not as bad as Duncan Ferguson.
Oh, no one's as bad as Duncan Ferguson.
I always remember them robbers who came...
Yes, I was just about to bring that up myself. And he just twatted him with a golf club, didn't he?
Yeah. Come in my house, I'll kick the shit out of you. Like, he's Duncan Ferguson.
Any player to pick, you have to pick the most volatile one, with the possible exception of Roy Keane in Britain.
One of the few men who's actually been sent to prison for something they did on the football field. But that was it Falkirk, I think it was? He just flattened a guy. He headbutted him, and he got sent to prison for it. Mental case, absolute mental case. But Graham Taylor inherited an England side that wasn't great at that point, and Euro 92, we should have won that.
Euro 92 was terrible quality, wasn't it?
Yeah, I loved it though. It was great.
No one was any good.
It was 8 teams, 2 groups, and it was so easy. It was just simple. We should have won it. There's no way, but it was just draw, loss, and go home. And nobody else was
what's
much
his
better.
name? The old tubby Swedish player. Thomas Brolin. That's
Thomas
it.
Brolin.
Ended up playing for Leeds when he was a bit older and much tubbier.
Yeah, he was massive. He was a big player with Thomas Brolin. Good player, though.
Yeah, big player in many ways for Sweden.
Well, it's their version of Jan Molby. But, or Peter Schmeichel. Or Neville Southall. Oh,
Neville Southall.
Big Nev. Try to get as big as the goal. Have you seen his Twitter?
Oh, his Twitter is legendary.
It's fantastic.
Very strange incident a couple of weeks ago, wasn't there? When he'd accidentally sort of started retweeting, because he does that where every so often he lets someone come over and start taking over his Twitter account to retweet it.
Yeah.
But some really, really kinky weirdness, wasn't it? So sort of like baby, like adults wanting to be baby sort of stuff.
Yeah, with the adult babies and BDSM and things like that.
But it was like really, really kinky weirdness, and he took it back, didn't he? He was like, "No, not having this on my my Twitter."
I think it got a bit much. He didn't realise. I think probably Big Nev is a bit too trusting. But for those of you who don't know, Neville Southall, ex-Everton goalkeeper and Wales legend, often lends his Twitter out to people.
Charities mainly, aren't they?
Yeah, social justice concerns. Survivors of sexual assault, gay people, trans people. He basically just wants, because he's a massive socialist, he's a huge Welsh socialist, he wants to understand things. So he talks to people. So unlike a lot of people who just won't ask questions, he just asks questions of things that he doesn't understand. And he'll say, I don't understand about trans issues. Can somebody just tell me? So people will tell him. And as he got into it, he just started, like I say, lending his Twitter out. But most of the time, it's fine. And this time, it got a bit weird. So I don't think he'd lended it to them again. But his Twitter is legendary. The other really weird 90s one is Gavin Peacock, ex-Newcastle and Chelsea.
He's a pastor, isn't he?
Fire and brimstone pastor in Canada.
Oh, he's a proper sort of one of those.
Yeah.
I thought he'd be quite, because he always came across on Football Focus as quite a sort of very softly spoken, sort of, I think it's through sort of chap. So I automatically assume that's how he would be as a vicar. But no, he's what sort of evangelist style stuff.
Yeah, very much so.
I would not have thought that of Gavin
women should listen to men folk and all this kind of stuff. And it's amazing.
Really gone off the deep end.
Yeah, very, very odd. Euro 92 though. But yeah, it was eminently forgettable with Euro 92. Certainly not what Euro 96. And then obviously, in between that and USA 94, where England weren't involved, but we're not going to talk about that because it's depressing. Obviously, you'd had 3 years of football championship, or Division 1, as it was called. And the only time I remember it now is that Leeds won it. They won the last one.
Yeah.
And that's the only one we're going to talk about, because Leeds won that. With a little player called Eric Cantona playing for them for a little bit.
Indeed.
And then the Premier League started the season after, 1993. And Leeds didn't win any away games in that season. I don't think it's ever been done since.
Random quirks.
Yeah, we just didn't win an away game.
Is there any reason for that?
They just weren't very good. And with Cantona...
Because obviously he'd been poached.
Buggered off. Yeah, well, what happened with Cantona is that he went to Sheffield Wednesday first. Trevor Francis brought him over. And they said, we'll give you a 6-month trial. And Eric said, I don't do trials.
Into Cantona style.
So he went to Leeds. And Leeds, for whatever reason, the rumour is that he'd fucked Lee... Oh, not Lee Evans.
Lee Evans.
I can't remember his name.
Oh, what's his name?
Leslie Ash, anyway. The rumour is that
Lee Chapman.
Lee Chapman, that's it. Because Lee Chapman at the time, I don't know if he still is, but at the time he was married to Leslie Ash, the actress. And the rumour was that Eric had had it away with Leslie Ash, and that's why they sold him. I don't think it's true. It's alleged.
Man behaving badly or not.
Yeah. Well, they sold him to... I think it was just bad business at the end of the day. They sold him to Man U for like £1 million.
Didn't realise just what they had with him.
And that's ridiculous. Can you imagine? But then again, they bought Schmeichel for £500,000 from Brøndby. So, but this is during the period where Fergie was building the team that would go on to dominate. And I'm not a Man United fan. Pete is, but I'm not. And even I will admit they dominated the Premier League in the 90s. Absolutely, completely dominated it. There wasn't a team to touch them, really.
No, because I mean, not until Wenger really got his claws into Arsenal, it was a real rival. I mean, obviously Blackburn won it in '95. Other than that, there wasn't really.
No, Chelsea towards the end. I mean, it was Arsenal, then it was Chelsea was in the 2000s.
Arsenal were the biggest ones, weren't they? I mean, there's no one else. I mean, Liverpool had obviously started to decline at that point.
Liverpool were shite.
Newcastle had about a couple of years in the sun, didn't they?
Yeah, but sadly, Keegan got psyched out by Fergie, didn't he? So,
Keegan went mental.
I'd love it if we beat them.
I remember that.
I remember that being on telly.
So vividly. I remember the game it was after as well, yeah.
Was it Newcastle-Liverpool?
Yeah.
Oh, it was one of the best games I've ever seen.
Incredible game.
That was just football at its best.
Football. What do you mean defending? Amazing. Forget defending. Let's just go hammer and tongs at each other.
It was, I mean, Collymore was on fire as well at that point.
Yeah.
And you had Les
Shearer,
Ferdinand.
obviously, for Newcastle. Shearer and Ferdinand for Newcastle, and Fowler and Collymore for Liverpool, weren't they?
Yeah. I mean, Les Ferdinand, he's the forgotten man of that Newcastle side, because he was amazing.
Everyone's always Shearer, Ginola, Faustino Asprilla.
Asprilla. I loved Asprilla. He was ace. He was the ultimate luxury player.
Yeah. I'm
physically in love with David Ginola. Because he went to Spurs afterwards and he was really, really good. And he's sort of like, loads of pictures of him now just coming out as a player smoking. Because he was smoking all the way through his playing career. And it's like, there's a man. There, right there. There's your typical French man.
He's one of those players that you just let him do what he did. Because you knew he produced like 2 or 3 crosses that no one else in the game could do.
Yeah.
So just let him do what he does, but he'll get you a goal before the end of the game.
It's something that doesn't happen now, but it's the free roll. You don't really see players in the free roll because you have McManaman at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Letizia, obviously.
Letizia was
the ultimate free roll.
I suppose Rooney sort of fell into that role a bit for a while.
Yeah, a little bit. Beardsley, he was another one. Who was an amazing player.
But the one that always sticks out for me, obviously, the Argentinian, Juan Roman Riquelme. He was like a barrel, but we just sort of built the entire team around him, and he would just sort of roll around the pitch, and then every so often he used to pass that no one else could play. And I was like, yeah, that's why he's there.
Well, that's what Alan Ball did at Southampton. When he came to Southampton, they were rubbish.
Built it around Letizia.
He basically just said one day, he said, "This is your best player. Any chance you get, pass to him."
You know what? It's simple, but it worked, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely it did. He was the best player in the Premiership.
He was a terrific player. Absolutely.
He just never left Southampton because he didn't want to. Back in the days when you could do something like that.
He just seems like a genuinely nice bloke as well, doesn't he? So he had loyalties there.
He was the first guest on Josh Widdicombe's Quick Together podcast, and anybody who hasn't listened to it, I definitely recommend listen to it. It's very, very funny, and he's the first guest, and he is really nice. It's just the fact that he just didn't want to leave Southampton. It was the club he always wanted to play for, and he didn't feel the need to move. And he probably wouldn't have got. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was going to say, if he'd have been in the form he was in the late 90s and the early 90s, he would have walked into that England side. But unfortunately, when he was good in the late 90s, the team had sort of picked itself to the extent where it didn't need him.
I think it was the problem as well is that they didn't have an England manager who understood the free role. If he'd had a manager like Southgate, he would have played. As it is, Venables had his favourites, so Darren Anderton would tend to be in
Darren Anderton, who wonderfully was injured for 10 months of the season, but as soon as he got to an international tournament, he was fit. And he got picked.
Oh, it was fantastic. Oh, I'm very biased. Spurs,
you are, because but how many times do you actually see him play for Spurs?
Loads. He was fantastic. But yeah, like I say, the free role is just something you don't see very often anymore. The other thing I was going to say about Man United, although they dominated in the 90s, people growing up in the 90s now think that Man United are always a good side and have always been a good side. And I'm old enough to know, no, where they are now is where they usually are. They're not a good side.
I've been saying this for a while, and as time has passed, the legend of Ferguson only grows. Just what he managed to do is so different to what United were like 20 years prior.
They were going down regularly.
Absolutely.
They were yo-yo side.
Between Busby and Ferguson, we had an assortment of managers, and it was only sort of, I suppose, Dave Sexton who was any good. I mean, we had Big Ron before Ferguson. It says it all, doesn't it?
Big Ron was all right.
He was all right, but he was also Big Ron. So
I mean, yeah. Tommy
Docherty, of course.
He would have been amazing. He would have been amazing had he not been shagging the physio's wife and had to leave. But he had to leave the club. Yeah. Because he was having it away. It's like, that's not good.
I just sort of my mind has been Franco Fowl at one point. United weren't always a dominant force, and that's the thing. And I don't even think of it early part of the Premier League era. United weren't that dominant. It was around the turn of the century before it tipped into the 2000s. Obviously, 99 was the pinnacle.
I would say the late
year
90s.
Before. From about 98 to about 2001 was probably when United were invincible, and then Arsenal got better. A lot better.
Because obviously 93 when they won it was a very close run thing, and oddly enough, the closest team to them was Norwich.
Yeah, Norwich were pushing for a long time, weren't they?
They were very nearly the first Premier League winners. Them and Villa. Very, very odd. Certainly
exchange, isn't it?
No way would you think that would happen now. I think Oldham were up there as well.
Yeah, Oldham up there.
And then the season after, Norwich beat Bayern Munich. Not Bayern Munich, Inter Milan. Oh, they did beat Munich as well, I think.
I'm not sure, did they?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they beat Bayern Munich at Carrow Road.
Might be in the old UEFA Cup.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Before it was all the Europa League and all things like that.
You know what trophy I miss? We got to talk about this the other night, didn't we? But the European Cup Winners' Cup. I like that.
Yeah.
It's such an assortment of random teams. The only thing they share is that they won the domestic cups of each country. So I remember the final one, which Chelsea ended up winning. And you had a good side from England, usually. It was more often the runner-up, wasn't it? But a good side from England, a good side from Italy, and a good side from Spain. And then you had all these random teams in it. And it was just fun. I enjoyed it.
Oh, it was, definitely.
Well,
here we go.
It was always different as well.
That first Premier League season, Man United, Villa, City. I mean, to be fair, United were 10 points clear of everybody. Blackburn 4. QPR were 5th. QPR. Liverpool, Sheffield Wednesday, Tottenham Hotspur, Man City, Arsenal were 10th. Then Chelsea, Wimbledon, Everton, Sheffield United, Coventry City, Ipswich, Leeds, Southampton, Oldham Athletic. Then the relegated that year was Palace, Middlesbrough and Forest, because obviously that was the last year that Brian Clough was in charge.
What's amazing is how many of those sides that in the first Premier League season are not there now. And in some cases, some haven't been there in years. In fact, I think in Oldham's case, you've not been in it since.
No, I don't think so. Oldham got relegated the season after with Swindon. Glenn Hoddle's Swindon.
Oh, yeah. How did he get from managing Swindon to managing England? It was a very strange transition.
He got Chelsea in between.
He did.
That's why.
That's when Zola was at Chelsea, wasn't it? Yeah.
He brought Zola in and Hullet as well. And Hullet got Vialli.
Vialli, yeah.
Favourite players. I loved Gianluca Vialli. Loved it. Because he's so weird. He's such a weird, odd man. He just doesn't care. He's just... I always remember on Football Italia just acting the fool with Jared Richardson. It was just fantastic to have those players. And Ravanelli.
Ravanelli, that Middlesbrough side from the late 90s, which had so many world-class players in it. Right?
Janino.
Emerson Ravanelli.
Was a great player, Ravanelli.
Good old Mark Schwartzman in between the sticks. I mean, is he still playing now?
I think he is still playing now.
I know he was on Chelsea's books recently.
Yeah. Well, Shaka Hislop was playing up until recently. I used to love Shaka Hislop. He was a great goalie.
Oh, he used to have very charismatic jerseys as well.
Yeah, well,
I remember his Newcastle one from the 90s was just... It was like a stained glass window, wasn't it?
Yeah. They were the Asics, wasn't it? Asics.
Yeah.
It was a company you don't see make kits anymore.
Yeah.
The 90s was a weird time because he's just straddling the professionalism that came in the 2000s and the complete haphazard mental caseness of the 80s. And it was just...
I mean,
there was just weird stuff going on, and the kits were one of them. They had some great kits. That Aston Villa second kit with the green, black, and red stripes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What's that about? The Norwich City, they had like blue tartan.
Yeah. There's some
with Norwich and Peterborough.
Really random ones, weren't there? Some beautiful ones as well, though.
Well, there was the man I've told you before about the Man United.
The blue and white one.
The blue and white herringbone. Oh, it's such a lovely kit.
That was a stunner.
Well, Spurs had some great ones. My team, Spurs, they had the ones they did by Pony. They were all right.
I like the yellow one in particular. Is that about your away kit? Was that in mid-90s?
Yeah, 91.
Yeah.
I've actually got that as my mobile phone case.
Yeah.
There's a company called Retro Classico. And they do mugs and scarves and mobile phone cases of old kits.
Cool.
So they've got loads of good Man United ones. But yes, I saw that and I thought, I wonder if they do hooray because that's what I've got. And they do, and they do the 91. But one of my favourites is actually the purple and dark blue one that they had sort of the Jurgen Klinsmann era.
Yes, I remember what you mean.
That was right. So if we're talking about watershed moments in football, British football, there's your watershed moment. We'd had foreigners before, sure, but we didn't have 1994 World Cup legend that is Jurgen Klinsmann. And Alan Sugar got him. Christ alone knows how Alan Sugar got him. I don't want to know.
That was that pre-Bergkamp?
That was pre-Bergkamp. It was 94. So it was literally right after the World Cup finished. We had Klinsmann, and Ozzy Ardiles was managing. So we didn't know how to defend.
You didn't need to. You had Klinsmann.
We had Klinsmann, and the first goal he scored in English football, his celebration was he did a dive, because that's what he'd been accused of all the time. So he did it, and the legend was born. Spurs fans just loved him. He could do no wrong. And to be fair, he was a team player, and lots of ex-Spurs players have said this. He didn't. The reason he drove the Beetle was, number one, he liked the Beetle. Number two, we didn't want to turn up in a flash car because he didn't want people to think, oh, look at him, big potatoes. He just wanted to be one of the lads. The other person that was like that was Bergkamp.
Yeah, I can imagine that with Bergkamp.
Apparently, he was just one of the lads.
Apart from when he had to be driven everywhere across Europe because he wouldn't fly. So
trying to fly him, yeah.
A very strange situation when obviously Arsenal became enforced in the Champions League. And he had to be driven to like Greece or something. It was very, very difficult, wasn't it?
It's scared, absolutely.
Everyone's entitled to be, but it was a very strange situation. Because I think by the end, we sort of just didn't bother taking him, did we? Right, never mind, Dennis. Save your energy.
Well, by
We'll
that
catch
point,
you in my home leg.
Yeah, at that point they had Overmars, so they didn't really need him anymore.
No.
They had Van Persie as well, so it's like,
What
do we do with it?
I just thought of another wonderfully random 90s legend of a player that most people have forgotten by now, but oh my word, when he first came, he was explosive. Tony Yeboah. That goal against Liverpool.
All the way from Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah.
That's back when Leeds were a force in football.
Leeds in the mid-90s. Was O'Leary the manager even then? Because, I know when Leeds got really good, it was like the early 2000s, wasn't it?
That was the early 2000s. That's when O'Leary was manager.
Kewell and Viduka.
George Graham was manager at that point as well, and Harold Wilkinson.
But I remember Yeboah coming in, just he did it a couple of other times as well, didn't he? He just let fly from ridiculous distances.
Yeah.
Like, each one would be more cinematic than the last.
Well, Spurs had a player like that, but he'd only do it very occasionally. That was Ronnie Rosenthal.
Oh, yes. When he felt like it, he could crack them, couldn't he?
Oh, 9 times out of 10, he was so lazy and didn't do anything. But there was a famous game against Southampton, and we were something like 3-0 down, or 2 or 3-0 down, and we ended up winning 4-3, I think. And he scored 3 of them. And they brought him on because they had to. I think we had a player injured. And he just came on, and I was like, oh, God, here we go. And he just scored 3 goals.
He just felt like it.
Yeah, it was his night. So I love it when that happens to a sub.
Oh, yes.
Didn't happen to Ali Dyer. Do you remember Ali Dyer?
Yes. Yeah.
Legend of Ali Dyer. He was a scammer. He had a friend of his pretend to be George Weah.
Yeah.
Call up Southampton and say, my cousin's a footballer.
Yeah.
Can you give him a trial?
And because George Weah was such a name at that point as well.
Current president of Liberia.
Current president of Liberia, but back then he was super.
It was amazing.
Striker of AC Milan.
I was to say he was the Rossoneri striker, wasn't he? So
yes.
Yeah, he could do no wrong. So if he said, my cousin's a footballer, he said, yep. So Suna said, yep. Brought him on. He was a substitute. He was on subbed for Matisia, who got injured halfway through the first half. He was substituted at the start of the second half because he was rubbish. And then he ended up playing for Gateshead. He left after like 2 games.
Have a mightier fallen.
He wasn't mighty. He was a scammer.
He was a pretend mighty.
Yeah, he was Ali Dyer. He got a Premiership game. more than I ever got.
Yeah. Well, he got 10 minutes.
I didn't get any. Why? It doesn't matter. He played in a Premiership game.
There you go. I'll go on his CV. Maybe.
Yeah. Apparently, he's in America now. He did a Masters in Business.
Yeah. I was going to say he's in MOS and he's doing really well. Would be telling a tale, wouldn't it? But
yeah. I mean, I don't even think MLS is that bad.
No, it can't be. It can't be. Not anymore. There was a time when it really was, but...
Oh, it used to be. It used to be dreadful. You used to have that thing where you couldn't have a draw at the end.
Yeah. There used to be all sorts of weird things. Yeah, but the shootout wouldn't be a penalty shootout. It'd be from a shootout line. It was that halfway between the halfway line and the goal.
Yep, and you had to have 3 touches.
Yeah.
And score within 3
Basically, they still have ice hockey, which is a very random one to steal it from, but there you go.
Yeah. And there was bigger goals as well.
I only remember that as well, because that line was on Sabutio pitches. And I always wondered what that was about, because you had the same thing with Sabutio. Speaking of 90s football, Sabutio was really, huge back then.
Yeah, before FIFA.
Oh, Sabutio was a thing. I
still is, kind of. It's not as big as it was.
I remember there being a Sabutio club at my high school. I remember it because it was always played in a wood tech classroom, because the teacher who was in charge was a wood tech teacher. Right. So it was played in a wood tech classroom. So we had big desks and stuff. What was the one thing that wood tech desks had that made it very difficult to lean in close to a table to touch anything? Vices, exactly. So we had to lean over, very careful about where you're leaning, of course.
Oh yeah.
But if you were a bit vigorous with your flicking action, which I was in one case, my ball, I'm saying this very carefully, my Sabutio ball dropped into the vice, which I then pushed accidentally and squished the ball in the vice. Yeah. So I was disqualified.
Oh.
Even though it was obviously an accident, we're like, no, you can't do that. It's ball tampering. So,
did you kung fu kick the tech teacher?
Yes.
Cantona style.
Indeed. Oh, Sabutio. It used to be too big to play in my house when I was a kid, so I just used to...
it's too big to play in anybody's house.
Table, so I just used to roll it out on the living room floor and then just move the entire furniture around just to be able to play it.
Never a fan. It's just a ball ache as far as I'm concerned. I was much more your championship manager kind of a guy, which I wasted many, many hours on. Many hours. Love championship manager.
So was I, but 0102 was the championship manager that hooked me in. That's still the best one.
1993, 94.
Oh. Way back when. Is that still the Collier brothers?
Yes. Yes, when it was Domark.
Yeah.
That was back on the Amiga.
Oh, wow.
That's how far back that is. But I loved it. I always played as Spurs or York City, depending on how I felt. Because York City was always a challenge, because obviously they were Division 4.
Oh, yeah. It's still great fun to do that.
That's back when you could cheat. You can't cheat so much now.
I currently do that on FIFA. I'm taking Accrington Stanley, and now me and my friend have took Accrington Stanley up into the... we won the FA Cup last season, and now we're in the UEFA Cup, well, Europa League, I should say.
Accrington Stanley?
Yes.
Who are they?
How did I know you'd say that?
Because Accrington Stanley.
Indeed.
Kept them alive. Because I don't think they're a team anymore.
Yeah, they disappeared for a big portion, didn't they?
Yeah, a lot of teams did that in the 90s. Yeah. Doncaster Rovers did that. Wimbledon ended up doing that for a bit.
Yeah. York City?
No, they never did.
Did they not? I thought
no.
They dropped out of the league, didn't they?
They dropped out of the league, but they never disappeared. They came close.
Hereford. They went, yeah.
But yeah, York City, no, they came close. And see, York City were a big 90s team because they beat 2 Premiership sides. United and then Everton. But United, I was there. I was at Old Trafford because my mate was a massive York City fan. So he said, do you want to go? And I said, well, it's Old Trafford, isn't it? Yeah, of course you want to go. I hate Manchester United. I still do hate Manchester United. Not as much as Arsenal, obviously, but if it'd been Highbury, I'd have said, fuck off. But I thought, night out, why not? It's fine. Go to Old Trafford, see York City get slaughtered by Manchester reserves, Man U reserves. Didn't turn out like that. York City beat them 3-0. And it wasn't as if it was a shit United side. It was like Paul Parker was playing.
Was it about 97, this?
No, it was 94.
Oh, earlier, right. But it's still a decent United side.
Well, they had a lot of younger players in, so I think Nicky Butt was playing.
Some of the class of 92 had been playing.
Yeah, Scholesy was playing, I'm pretty sure. I think, not the Nevilles, I don't think a bit before their time.
It's a bit early for Beckham as well, I suppose.
But... He was a bit early for Beckham. I think he was on loan at that point.
Oh, at Preston.
Yeah, I think he was at Preston, yeah.
Which is a stadium that, if I look out my room window and squint a bit, I can see Deepdale. There you go.
Poor you.
And it's not too bad, except on match days. I can hear the booing at the moment as Preston's stone cold bottom of the championship. Speaking of little sides doing well in cups, it was a 90s thing. Chesterfield, 1997.
Yeah, they got
semi-finalists of the FA
Cup.
Losing to a Middlesbrough side that we mentioned before.
Yeah, well, the Middlesbrough side and then got slaughtered by Chelsea.
Yeah, Di Matteo.
16-second goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Roberto Di Matteo.
Oh, yes.
And Dan Prochescu playing in that side as well.
Oh, probably, yeah. Who else? I mean, Zola, obviously. Was it a bit early for Hasselbank?
Yeah, I think Hasselbank was a couple of seasons after Hullett. I think he was playing. Maybe?
I think he was. I think it was before he took over as manager at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Who else would have been in that side?
Oh, Lord. Obviously, half the people we've already mentioned for Middlesbrough, like Ravanelli was playing the Silver Feather.
Oh, yes.
Vialli was playing.
Vialli may well have been, yeah. And Janino, etc. for Balloon.
Janino was a fantastic player. I'll tell you who else was a fantastic player, and they never made much of him. Georgi Kinkladze.
Oh, he was a terrific little player for City, wasn't he?
He would have been brilliant. Sadly, City had a fucking nightmare in the 90s.
Oh, they really did.
I mean,
we went down to... was it in the 90s he went all the way down to what would now be called League One? Or was that in the 2000s?
Yeah, no, it was successive relegations. It was 98 and 97, 98. They got relegated in 96. And that was hilarious, was that? It was between them, I think, Coventry or Southampton, one of those sort of sides. And I think that side had to lose or draw, and Man City could draw and stay up.
I think it was like a three-way thing. I think Coventry and Southampton.
Something like that.
Something, because I remember CFAX being an overload.
I think as long as they were losing, those other sides, or drawing, City were fine with a draw. If either of those started winning, City needed to win. And what happened was that the information came, because this is before the internet or anything like that, so people on radios used to see it all the time. Best place to see that was Blackburn on the last day of the season where they won the title. Loads of people on the radios. But it was the same with City. And they were listening, and the information came is that those sides were drawing or losing, so City only needed to draw. So they were doing the thing of putting it in the corner and just keeping it there. And then you saw Niall Quinn. He saw Niall Quinn run out and tell Alan Ball, "No, you need to win. And it's too late. They lost. They drew. And they went down.
I hate putting the ball in the corner, by the way. I hate it.
Oh, I can't bear it. It winds me right up. It does. You should always go for goal, no matter what.
Exactly. Punt it downfield is better than just dribbling it into the corner. Because if you lose it, you'll kick a right volley.
Kick it out. It's fine. So they went down. Alan Ball left. And I forget who took over.
Was it Frank Clark?
He took over eventually. It was Koppel first, I think. Wasn't it?
Koppel. Yeah.
I think Koppel took... No, someone took over.
Joe Royal?
No, he took over eventually. What happened, it was Alan Ball, and then he left when they were in Division 1, as was. Early on, because the season started really badly, and they were in the bottom half. So Ball went, and then Koppel came in for something like 30 days. But they hated it. He was never going to last, because he came in from Crystal Palace, but he was an ex-Red.
He was a United man through and through, couple.
So the City fans hated him, didn't want him there, and he left because he got stressed out because they had something like 50 odd players on the books. It was ridiculous, the mismanagement of that club, because Franny Lee was a skinflint, but also he used to make him buy some really shit players. So Nigel Clough there, well past his best. And it's like,
didn't he buy, because obviously we bought King Clancy, but didn't we also buy 2 or 3 other Georgians randomly, just because he bought them in a job or what? Is it buy one, get 2 free or something? Yeah,
exactly that. So he just bought them all. They were terrible, apart from King Clancy, who was amazing. And they tried to build a team around him, but the team just wasn't good enough. So Copper went, then Phil Neal came in. And this is just after the Graham Taylor debacle, where he's just been seen as this yes man. If you need to know who he is, he's Mike Bassett, England manager. He's Bradley Walsh's character. Yes, boss. Yeah. He just repeated the boss. And then you had Laurie McMenemy, who apparently just said to people, do what you do for your clubs. So he went, and then Frank Clark came in, and he tried keeping him afloat, and that didn't work, so he went. And this was Frank Clark, who a couple of years before had been not Forest manager, third in the Premiership, and he couldn't do it. So Royal came in, and
he got him up again, didn't he?
Well, they went down, but they were going down anyway. So they did slightly better when he came, but they were always going to go down. So they went down, and then they went down with Clark, I think. And then they went down again, and that's when Joe Royal took over, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's it. So they went down, and then the season that Arsenal won the Premiership, they went down again. And that's when Joe Royal had just taken over.
In 97, 98.
Yeah, and then he got them back up again, basically, did Royal. But King Clancy was a luxury player that he was never going to fit into a Joe Royal team, you know?
No.
Joe Royal, very much long ball, very much...
Oh, yes. It worked for Everton in the mid-90s, didn't it?
Well,
I remember that 95 Cup final very clearly.
Yeah, because United proper spat their dummy out.
Yeah.
And Ferguson did the usual Ferguson thing of accusing Everton of cheating because they wouldn't give United the ball and things like that, yeah.
So it's sort of something that Wenger fell into towards his latter years, of moaning that teams were playing not the right way of football because they weren't playing exactly the way that Arsenal to beat them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but Ferguson did that throughout the whole of the 90s.
You should attack us because then we can break you and we can beat you. Yeah. If you don't try and attack, how are we expected to beat you? It's not on.
Look, I know you're a United fan, and look, his record speaks for itself. But at the end of the day, Alex Ferguson is not a very nice man.
Well, bit different, but continue.
He's not a very nice man. That's why he's such a good football manager, because you tend to find nice football managers aren't generally very good. Jurgen Klopp, for instance, is a bastard at the end of the day.
Is he? Because he comes across as such a jovial character.
Well, he is a jovial character, but he's a bastard. He's like any businessman who, he's a good businessman. I bet he's lovely. Of course he's not lovely. He's a businessman. You don't get anywhere in business by being nice to people. And it's the same with the football manager. That's why you saw Fergie decline. Because it wasn't because his tactics had changed or he wasn't tactically sound anymore. He was perfectly fine. It's just that no, it isn't that. It's that footballers had softened. You couldn't speak to footballers in the 2000s the way that you could in the 90s. Because everybody knows Ferguson, proper fire and brimstone, they call him the hairdryer, don't they?
But
chucking cups of tea about and things like that.
But he did it in private. He wouldn't air his dirty laundry, unlike certain other managers.
But what I'm saying is that he would, if you didn't play for him, he'd give you the treatment. He'd fuck you up. And if you left the club, you were dead to him.
Well, like he said, he demanded respect from all his players, but in return he would give them respect if they gave him respect. But
you can't do that now.
No, in this era of player power and stuff.
Yeah, just couldn't do it.
Then you have to be almost like a nurturing presence and bend over sometimes, as it were.
Absolutely. No, I
don't. And then they get their agents to find them a club that will.
And that's what happened with Fergie. I'm convinced that's what happened with Fergie, because that man didn't lose his tactical nous.
No.
He knows what he doesn't know about football.
He's a tactical genius.
Yeah, what he doesn't know about football ain't worth knowing. He's a very clever man. I don't like him, but yeah, he's, like I say,
you have to exactly. He's possibly the greatest manager the English game's ever seen.
Certainly one of them, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's up there with people like Shankly and Paisley.
Shankly, Busby, Clough, obviously.
Clough, you don't ever say a bad word about Brian Clough, because I love that man.
Yeah.
Well, what we do, we sit down and we have a conversation, and 10 minutes later, we decide that I was right.
Legend that was. The legend that was.
Fucking great. Best England manager that England ever had. But yeah, that's why Ferguson lost it, in inverted commas, towards the end, because players wouldn't be told. It's like the whole Pogba thing that's going on at the moment with Mourinho. Pogba's acting like a right tosser.
Both of them are, though. It's like two children there.
But Mourinho's the manager.
Pogba's a big-headed brat who's been boosted up by his agent to basically say, do whatever you like, say whatever.
You're bigger than this club now.
Exactly.
And he's he needs to go.
So, yes, Mourinho should be demanding respect from him. But then again, Mourinho shouldn't be moaning about it to all and sundry.
He's his manager. Well, I suppose that's the only outlet he feels that he has.
But
Pogba needs to go.
Pogba needs to go, but so does Mourinho, really. I mean, all it's doing is creating unnecessary drama, and it's affecting everybody else.
Exactly.
The whole team is falling apart now.
Personally, I'm pissing myself.
Oh, I'm sure you are, but, you know.
That's funny as fuck, but, you know. It would never have happened under Ferguson, because Pogba will be gone.
How many United players in the past did that? Who started thinking we were too big for their boots?
And they were gone. Well, Ince,
Beckham,
Hughes,
Van Nistelrooy,
Kanchelskis.
Yeah.
And
older to an extent.
Once you left, you were dead to him. Because he would slag you off. Like Beckham. He still doesn't like, he still hates Beckham to this day. I don't think he ever liked him, to be fair.
Well, I think in his autobiography, it's interesting, he said it sounds like he was a very impressionable boy, is the idea that Ferguson had of him. So he was very good, but he had his head turned, and the idea he had his head turned by Posh Spice,
That's how we blame.
By the celebrity lifestyle that was afforded him. I mean, obviously Madrid would do anything to answer.
Yeah, exactly. You don't say no to Real Madrid.
No, frankly. No one ever does, apparently.
Especially not then.
No, that Madrid side of the early 2000s was legendary, wasn't it?
To be fair, he didn't do badly out of it, did he? So, you know, I'm sure he's fine. But, like I say, Fergie was dominant, shall we say, in the 90s. Not Man United, Fergie. They played on Fergie time, which is an accepted phenomenon now. He told referees off and got away with it. Cantona, obviously. Apparently, did you hear the David May story about that? If not, you should definitely listen to Quickly Kevin, because he tells it better than I did. Apparently, when it happened, they all went into... obviously, it was a draw, I think, so it's like... at the end of the game, they all thought, Fergie's going to go proper off at Cantona. So he started off down the line. He said, right, David May... what you doing defending? You weren't defending, you were rubbish in that game. And he basically hair-dried every one of them. And then he came to Eric and they thought, oh, here you go. He went, Eric, you can't be doing that, son. That was it.
That's the Glaswegians' response, isn't it?
Hey, you can't be doing that, son. And it's like, they're all like, is that it? Well, Cantona, I think the thing is, Cantona was one of those first players who needed to be nurtured.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
but he gave the difference is that he wouldn't whine about it like Pogba's doing. He'd just be off. He just didn't care.
Yeah, he was very much a man unto himself, wasn't he? I mean, he's completely batshit, but you know, he was a one of a kind player, wasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He very much reminds me of the attitude that David Batty has. And David Batty's hilarious. Again, one of the things that comes out of Quickly Kevin is anyone plays with bats has got a story.
Yeah.
About how the man just doesn't give a shit. Doesn't like football, apparently. Hates football. He's just good at it. So it's just a job. So it's like, you know when you're sort of good at your job, but you don't really care. You don't want to do it outside of working hours. So he liked fishing and he liked motorsports. He'd go to that and he didn't give a shit about football. So...
You just turn up, play the game, go home.
And fuck off. Off. Apparently he's gone off-grid now. No one knows where he is. He didn't turn up for the Blackburn 20th anniversary of them winning the Premiership. Just didn't come. Couldn't be bothered with it. The rumour was that he got paid in cash. Which I
in
want to
hand
believe.
every week.
Apparently, the Blackburn training ground, when they were doing a new training ground, they had to knock loads of houses down to do it. So Jack Walker just bought all the houses and gave people really good prices for it because he could afford it.
That's good.
In one of the houses, apparently they found a body, and Batty was off trying to find his body.
CSI Batty.
And whenever they played football and it was the end of training, he'd just be off and didn't stick around at all. And the best one was when he missed a penalty at France 98. He was showered and away before the rest of the team had even got in the showers. He just missed a penalty, went in the dressing room, showered, changed, on the bus.
That's been done. Yeah.
That's been done. That's it. There's no point crying about it. Beckham's there crying his eyes out, got sent off. Batty didn't bother him. And everybody has, they told Mark Lawrence in it, because obviously he played for Newcastle, and Lawrence was the defensive coach. And he said, yeah, that sounds like Bats. Sounds like, yeah, he'd be like that. He wouldn't care. He wouldn't give a shit. It said, like, sort of, it haunted Pierce for years, missing the Italia 90. Haunted Southgate in 96. Yeah. In 98, Batty didn't give a shit. I kind of respect that. It's like, yeah, why would you? Why would you care? Well, it's not going to haunt you. It happened. What am I going to do about it?
Indeed.
Love it. Got to love it. But 90s football. Very finally, what's the overriding memory you have of 90s football there, Pete?
Has to be Euro 96. Has to be Gascoigne's goal against Scotland. And the celebration that followed. I think that, the dentist chair. I think that's what kick-started the campaign, because the Switzerland game had been a bit edgy and wasn't very good. That game against Scotland was an absolute belter.
Well, the game, everybody goes on about now how it was sort of like a dead cert that England would beat Scotland.
Scotland were a decent side back then, because they won the World Cup a couple of years later, didn't they?
Well, they had
Colin Hendry.
They had Gillespie and Morpeth like that. Yeah. And Gary McAllister.
Duncan Ferguson.
Ali McCoist.
Oh, Ali McCoist, yeah.
Jim Leighton.
Yes.
Ex-United legend.
Yeah.
But, they had a decent side, so it wasn't a given at all. And England weren't that good at the start of the tournament. Yeah. So, obviously, they then beat Scotland and then went on to beat Holland, and that's
when it just went up, yes.
That was a good night, was that?
I remember the Spain game, Stuart Pearce's redemption, which was brilliant.
That was a good Spain side as well. They had, like, Raul,
Fernando Hierro, all sort of players, weren't they?
They had some good players.
Zubizarreta in goal.
Yeah, exactly. This was a good Spain side, so the fact that England beat them on penalties is pretty bloody good. Plus, tournament football, it doesn't matter if you beat people on penalties in Progress, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I know people like to say, oh, yeah, you didn't really beat them, though, did they? Well, yeah, they did, but on penalties. And then the Germany game, it was a cracking game of football.
Oh, it was a belter.
And there's so many close chances for England to have won that.
And if we'd have beaten Germany, we'd have won the tournament.
They'd have beaten the Czech Republic, no doubt.
Even though at Czech Republic I did have a legend, it was Karol Poborski.
He was so shit.
He was a legend for all of one tournament, and he came to United and did nothing for a season.
Nothing. Who was the other one that year?
Jordi Cruyff.
Cruyff.
Jordi Cruyff resigned. It was literally signed just because he had Cruyff as his surname.
Yeah, he was terrible. He wasn't a very good player.
No.
And then obviously Forlan was the other one that came after the 2002 World Cup, I think he was.
Yeah, when Uruguay first made an impact, wasn't it? Yeah.
He was so terrible.
Ever since.
Yeah. Veron was the same.
I've to come into it. Oh, Veron.
You've had so many players who just didn't perform.
No.
But then again, you did have Ruud van Nistelrooy, who was amazing. But Euro 96 was a great tournament. And England could totally have beaten Czech Republic. As it was the player who played terribly all tournament, Olivier Bierhoff, who won it.
Yeah, he became a legend, didn't he? Because he obviously came up big in the final, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored the golden goal. But
the first ever golden goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Other than that, he was terrible. But the player of that tournament was Sammer.
Yeah.
Who I think, had he not been injured, he would have been a much bigger player than he was. But he was a fantastic player.
It was Sammer, and he was his partner in central defence. There's the two of them who were rock solid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was before Khan was a goalkeeper, wasn't it? Him goalie.
Olivier Kahn.
France 98, didn't he?
Yeah, he was in Euro 96 as well, wasn't he, Kahn?
Well, he wasn't a first choice goalie for Germany back then, I don't think.
No, he wasn't. He had Kuntz as well.
Yes, of course, Kuntz.
Played like Kuntz.
A joke that escaped me at the tender age of 8, but yeah.
It's a family show.
Indeed.
He played like Kuntz, was fantasy football used to say. Euro 96 was amazing. It was one of and it was a good summer, and it was good. It was like Britpop was in full swing, and Labour were just about to get in.
96 was a good year.
It was a hopeful year. It was 96. Like I say, it was a good summer. I was playing a lot of football with my friends, and we were in the pub a lot because it was the summer holiday before I went to university. So it was the last time I had probably gone out to hang out with my friend Jim and Nobby there. And it was great. It was just a really nice summer. And you had this lovely football tournament as well, with some really good games in it as well, not just the England games. There was just some really good... It was just, like I say, really hopeful time. And then France 98 was pretty good as well.
I like France 98.
It's one of my favourite tournaments.
Yeah.
It's France 98 because, again, it was a really, really good summer and the BBC coverage was really good. And again, there were high hopes for England. Just a bit unlucky against a really good Argentina side. Like a really good Argentina side.
Yeah.
Of course, in 2002, this is weird because you watch England match with Argentina and there's a defender there called Pochettino.
Yes, there is. But also, he looks nothing like what Poch looks like now.
No,
he had a long hair and all sorts.
He looked more Argentinian.
Yeah.
He looked like Argentina. He had the hairband in and everything. It's like, I can't imagine him looking like that now. He was also smiling a lot, which he doesn't tend to do now.
No.
He's a very grumpy old man. He's Mauricio Pochettino, but there you go. He also couldn't speak. Well, he's not been happy since Chelsea, has he?
He's not been happy since before Real Madrid, put it that way.
No, I think it was last time he was happy.
Madrid changed him, I think. Going to Madrid affected him.
I think it changes everybody. Nobody comes out of that looking good.
He does. Because he expects so much.
Do you reckon he'll get fired?
He'll either get fired or he'll leave of his own volition.
Who do you think he'd take over?
Well, the rumour is Zidane, which would be incredible, but...
Yeah, it won't be.
I'd hope we'd give it to a younger manager with purpose and direction. Someone who has it, and just give him a couple of years, because it's clear we're miles behind City and Liverpool now, so...
It's going to take a long...
Don't try and catch up to them immediately.
Yeah.
Just give it a few years, get someone in place, like what Klopp's done at Liverpool, where we're giving him time to be able to stamp his authority on the side.
Well, that's it, because Liverpool, in the past, they would have sacked Klopp. I think after last season, they would have said it's not working out. But I think you've got to give a manager at least, because Ferguson, his first couple of seasons, he was terrible.
He was on the brink of getting sacked when he started turning it around.
5-1 Man City.
Yeah,
they nearly sacked him.
Yeah,
can you imagine? You got to give a manager at least 2 or 3 seasons to get a team together and get it working as they want it. There are no quick fixes, and I think, to be fair, I think they are realising that now, chairman and football clubs.
I mean, you see, the teams that are successful at the moment. I mean, we don't know about Chelsea and Arsenal, obviously, but the other teams that are doing well at the moment are teams that have kept stability and have got very unique styles about them. Guardiola, Liverpool, Klopp, Spurs with Poch.
Spurs need
very unique. Yeah,
Spurs need more players.
We're looking
tight. We're getting tight. We're getting by at the moment. We're not playing that well, but we are getting results, which is good. I'm glad we're not playing well, but still getting results. But we need to start beating the top 6 teams, and we're not going to start going to. I mean, we've got hopefully 3 points because we're playing Cardiff next.
Should be.
So I can't.
There's a man that lives in Swansea.
Can't really see Cardiff beating us, but
I see Cardiff beating anyone, to be honest.
To be fair, we've got Barca tomorrow. We're not going to beat Barcelona. I will be surprised, even at Wembley. But yeah, I think United need to sort it out. I think they need to give Mourinho more time. They need to get rid of Pogba. I'd get rid of him before I get rid of Mourinho. I think he will go. I think he'll get fired, which is a shame. I do like Jose Mourinho. I think he's all right. I won't want him at my club, but I do think he's a good manager. But as you say, the top 4 clubs at the moment, you've got obviously Man City with Pep. They didn't win the first season he was there, but now
they're stuck with him, and look at them now. They're playing
They're winning the title. I don't care how many times Liverpool fans say that they're going to win it. There's no chance. They're going to bottle it. To be fair, that game against Chelsea was cracking at the weekend, though.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
Amazing.
I like Sarri as well as manager at Chelsea.
Well, I like Hazard as well.
Yeah, what Sarri has done in such a short space of time at Chelsea is incredible. So he's
the type of manager I really like. He's really quiet and unassuming.
He's a nice guy as well. He's got on side with us. We did an article the other day. He's actually put cake back on the menu and let players have extra time with their families and stuff. Which is an easy way to get people to like you, but if you get players playing for you, the squad he's got, you just want
to play. He's got Hazard, doesn't he? I mean, I would be really...
Willian.
I'd be really, really scared of Hazard going to Real Madrid in January because he's going, isn't he?
I'm surprised he didn't. I'm surprised he didn't go immediately.
I think he's got loyalty. I'll be honest with you. I think he's got a lot of loyalty to Chelsea because they gave him his big break at the end of the day. And he's Belgian, so his feet are stuck on the ground. He's not a big-headed player by any stretch of the imagination. It's like company with Man City, who is going to be Man City manager one day, by the way.
Yeah, I can see that.
When Pep decides to finally go, who would he go to? Real Madrid?
Manage Spain or something, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But
there's no one else to prove himself, is there?
No.
He went to Italy, I suppose, because he's not been in Italy, has he?
No, I don't think his style of play suits Italy. Not anymore.
You can change it, though, can't you?
Would you want to?
Change English.
Would you want to leave City? I mean, at the moment, there's no reason to want to leave Man City.
Exactly, but, at one point, we thought, why would you ever want to leave Barcelona?
The final thing I will leave us with, this is the last thing. If you were a football fan and your team isn't doing very well and you keep getting relegated, just think, Man City were relegated 20 years ago, 2 successive seasons, and now look at them. It might take a while, but it can happen. All it needs is an exceedingly rich sheikh with a bottomless bank book. That's all it. Who doesn't get involved in the side at all. Not interested. Not like bloody Levy, who is so stingy. I just spend money. He doesn't want to win titles. It's going to cost him. It's an obligation. Oh, it's so much like Alan Sugar. It's unbelievable. We don't want. I want him gone. I want him gone, and I want a rich sheikh just to say to Pochettino, "Here you go, money, lots of it. Buy who you want." And we'll get some players to play up front with Kane. Because we've got the backbone of the team. We don't need that many. We just need someone else to start scoring goals.
You need another striker. Desperately.
You need another striker. Well, not desperately. We've got plenty of players who can...
but you need another man who can bang in 15 goals a season.
Yeah, that'd be nice. We got a really good
defence.
So
did United.
Got a brilliant... United just need a whole new team from the so. West Ham took them apart.
Exactly, and that's embarrassing in itself.
And then saying, the first goal was offside and the second goal was...
I hate that. That's my personal thing. With people who point at decisions like that and say that affects the result, it's like, no, it won't affect the result, because if your team played well enough, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Exactly, you'd have scored 4.
Yeah.
You'd have scored 4, but you were lucky to get 1, frankly. They just weren't very good. Playing in pink doesn't fucking help. The fuck was that kit? Oh my God!
No, it brings back memories of a grey.
Yeah, but teams have played in grey before and won, so don't give me that crap.
Oh no, that kit was cursed.
I like that kit. I like the fact that they made that kit because it looked good with jeans. It says it all about 90s football, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
But there you go. Pete.
Yes.
Been a pleasure having you on as always, mate.
Absolutely. It's been great having this real nonsensical ramble about football of the 90s, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, no structure to it. That's the best way sometimes. But where can we find you on the old wide world of the interweb, Pete?
Well, my podcast, as you very adroitly mentioned earlier, is Smorgasbored. It's actually a podcast network these days, I should say. Smorgasbored, SMORGASBORED. We're on all podcast providers, your iTunes and Stitcher, Acast, all that sort of jobby. You can also find us on Twitter at SmorgasbordPod, on Instagram at SmorgasbordPod, and you can email me at smorgasbordpod@gmail.com.
Excellent stuff, and do listen to it. It's very good, and I'm on it sometimes.
Indeed you are. You're on Smorgasbord's new show coming out, this week.
There we go. As is my co-host on Justice for All, Amy Walker. She's on it as well.
Indeed.
So yeah, go listen. As for me, you can find me at Cymru Nerd Cave on Twitter, Glenn Jakeman on Facebook, and as for Back to the 80s, find us at facebook.com/BTTE. pod, and on Facebook, obviously, and on Twitter at BTTE Pod. Excellent stuff. We're going to leave you this week with the outro, which this time is by Union, with Some Bloke Out of Mike and the Mechanics. Fair enough. You Are the Number One is the song. It's from 1992, and it was the official ITV theme for Euro 92. And it's a bit rubbish. But it was also the Soccer Saturday theme for a long time as well. And the Enter League Extra. Just before they used Dread Zone, Little Britain by Dread Zone. When Gabriel Clark, that's it. Gabriel Byrne's an Irish actor. Gabriel Clark used to present it, and it was John just before or just after Prisoner on ITV on a Monday. There you go. But yes, You Are the Number One, and we'll also leave you with a BBC One close down from 1995 with a public information film starring, of all people, Callan Ball. Odd, just very, very odd, and it's all about medicine as well. He doesn't say rock on, so he says right on, Tommy. So I'm guessing he couldn't say rock on for some reason.
Legal reasons.
Must be. Who knows? I don't know. Very, very odd. But we'll leave you with that. Pete, thanks for coming on. Hopefully we'll have you on again very soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent stuff. Say bye-bye to all the lovely people.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you next time. Bye.
You are the number one.
Just believe unwelcome attention.
Joanna.
Paul, I'm sorry, I know it's very late.
Somebody seems determined to persecute you, which is why we're going to go to the police.
I had the idea that if it ever happened to me, then I'd know what to do about it. I'm single, I live alone. Why should it happen to others and not to me? He has to attack me, doesn't he? The police don't do a thing until he makes a move.
Paul?
Joe? Dangerfield, Friday, 9:30 on BBC One.
A late-night look at the weather now on BBC One with Ian McCaskill.
Hello, welcome to our weather forecast. This deep low will move away now, and a ridge of high pressure will give much lighter winds in the north and west of Britain tomorrow. This weather front, strung out, slow moving across the Scottish and Irish borders there. A dry night eventually in the far northwest of Scotland, and a cold night up there too. Some rain persisting over Northern Ireland and southern Scotland and the borders. Over England and Wales, though mainly dry, very misty, with some patches of quite thick fog, especially in the south by the morning, but a mild night in the south. 4 in the north, 11 to 13 in the south. That's where the weather fronts look tomorrow, pivoting over Scotland and Northern Ireland there. So a lot of rain and cloud over Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and the borders just to start with, but drying up for a time during the morning in those areas. A lot of fog over England and Wales. Do look out for that during the course of the day. More rain moving northwards over Northern Ireland later on in the day. Apart from the far north of Scotland, winds very light indeed during tomorrow, and even the winds in the north of Scotland lightening during the course of the afternoon and the evening. Quite pleasantly fresh in the north, 13 Celsius, 14 over Northern Ireland. Coming further south, once the fog clears, as it will in the afternoon, hazy sunshine, temperatures as high as 23 Celsius in places. Good night.
2.5 mils is 2.5. That's about half. What are you doing? I'm trying to give Nobby his medicine, and it's not easy, Tommy. Is it, Nobby?
Use this measure. Well, don't be silly. It's not an injection. You just gently squeeze the medicine into the side of the mouth.
How am I supposed to get the medicine into that little hole?
Place adapter in the bottle. Pull back the plunger. Push the air into the bottle. Without air bubbles, withdraw correct amount. With the patient upright, give the medicine slowly into the side of the mouth, giving time to swallow.
Why do you do that, Tommy?
Because it's better for your teeth.
Oh.
And it allows us to measure small doses more accurately. But remember,
what?
Only take the stated dose that is written on the label.
Right on, Tommy.
Here's a leaflet that explains it all, and is given with a prescription, along with a set of instructions for the measure.
That'll do for me, Nobby. Will it do for you?
That was a public information film. And that's the BBC One clock telling us it's very nearly 2 o'clock in the morning and time for us to shut up shop for tonight. As ever, before we go, a customary reminder for you that BBC Radio remains on the air. Claire Sturgis is looking after things at Radio 1 at the moment. Sue McGarry is on Radio 2 and on Radio 5 Live. In about 10 minutes, Rod Sharp is up all night. But from the team here on BBC One and me, Peter Offer, have a safe and peaceful night. Good night.